This conference will now be recorded.
Hi Vijay, can you make me presenter, please? I think there is one more trainer me. I'll change my name. Okay, so let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Please do confirm.
Yes, yes, Shankar.
Can someone unmute and confirm, please? Can you all see my screen?
Yes, yes, Shankar. We are able to see.
Yes,
Yes, yes, we are able to see screen.
Confirm details. I cannot hear you guys. Let me rejoin. Yeah, so just now I rejoined. So let me get. Okay, great. So we got the permissions now. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Shankar, I can
Okay,
able to
great.
see it.
Okay. So yeah. So thanks everyone for joining this demo, and apologies for the delay in joining. Let us get started. So this is a Microsoft Azure demo. So today I'm going to walk you through uh, what are all the topics that we are going to cover as part of this course, as well as I will also talk about a few basic concepts like cloud computing, what is public cloud, private cloud, and so on. Okay, that's the agenda for today's meeting. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce me. So my name is Shankar. I am a Microsoft certified trainer. It's been 2 years, and I have experience in Azure close to 7 plus years, and I hold right now um, close to 10 Azure certifications. Includes administration, architect, security, DevOps, SAP, WVD, and there are many other. All known certifications are already completed by me. So that's pretty much about myself. Okay. So let us directly, before I start off, I just want to uh, see if you have any questions, initial questions. Maybe I can take a few questions before I start off. So yeah, I mean those who are in chat, I can actually talk to you at the end. Okay, you can't hear me. Uh, Vamshi Krishna says he can't hear me. Is it same with everybody?
No, Shankar, I
Or
can hear your screen
okay.
clearly.
So then Vamshi Krishna, there is some problem on your side. Can you please check? Maybe you can rejoin. So yeah. So any other questions that you guys have?
Yeah, Shankar, my doubt is, so is there any coding needed for this Azure or AWS?
Absolutely no coding would be required, but little bit of uh, I would say commands. I mean, we do use command line tools, but you don't really have to code or develop any code as such.
Okay, so basics of Linux, if you could say.
Basics of Linux, and there are a few other tools where those are all like easily understandable, not like Java or .NET. So those are easily understandable.
Okay, okay. So,
Shankar, this is Suresh. So when you said like the commands are needed, like do we get to use like Python, Groovy scripting, or like shell scripting here? Like what kind of scripting will like is made part of this course?
This course is purely for administration oriented. So, of course, I'm going to teach you PowerShell, CLI, ARM templates, Terraform. Those are all. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm going to teach you PowerShell, CLI, ARM templates, and Terraform. So these are all we are going to cover, but we are not going to discuss or cover any scripting as such because this is purely an administration oriented course, not I would say DevOps, or we are just going to give you some basics on.
Okay,
Guys, can you hear me? Do you see any problem hearing me?
no, no,
no problem, Shankar. At this time,
completely
yeah,
audible.
I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
I lost you.
Oh, hi Shankar, Sandeep here. So, is this course is related to any profile like if suppose I'm a .NET or any DevOps, so is this only specific to for specific role, specific
Yeah,
profile?
I think now you'll be able to hear me.
Shankar, we can hear you. Maybe so we you are not hearing us. Maybe it's better to rejoin again.
Can't hear you.
Morning, Shankar. This is Vamsi. We can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, you all can hear me, right? So I think then we are good. So let me
Yes,
continue.
sir. We are able to hear you.
So I was coming back to your question. Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for the confirmation. So let's go back to the question. So question that you asked about scripting, right? So as I said, this is a purely administration oriented course. So I'm just going to give you a basics how you can write a script and all, but we are not going to specifically dedicatedly, we are not going to deep dive into scripting or anything as such. That's why I said. So it's something like this. To handle Azure services, you can handle it in multiple ways. So without any scripting, you can also handle uh, from Azure portal, but you also can handle via CLI, PowerShell, Terraform, ARM templates. So I'm going to explain all different ways that you can handle Azure services, but it is up to you which one you want to choose, and you want to deep dive, you want to go further at advanced level. So that's the main agenda. Yeah, that's what we are going to cover in this course. I hope I answered your question. Okay, so I think I cannot hear anything from you guys. So let me continue. In case if you have any problem, feel free to ping me in chat. Okay.
Oh,
So
sure.
Tarun, if you are speaking, I can't hear you. Probably I don't know if it's a problem on my side or your side, but I cannot hear you.
I can hear you clearly, Shankar, and see your screen as well. Hello, Shankar, can you hear me?
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna continue. Let me know if you have any issues or anything as such. Okay, so now let us start with the basics of cloud. First of all, what is cloud computing? So cloud computing is a delivery of computing services over an internet, enabling faster innovation, flexible resources, and economies of scale. What do you mean by this? So nowadays everything happens online, right? So you purchase any product online, you purchase a lot of things you do online. You watch movies, everything online. So similarly, the cloud computing is nothing but the computing services. When I say computing services like CPU, memory, and network and storage, these are the services. So these services, delivering these services to you over an internet is something we call it as cloud computing. So when these services are delivered to you over an internet, of course this will enable faster innovation, flexible resources, as well as economies of scale, which we are going to discuss in next slide in detail. So let us see top cloud computing benefits. Okay, so you have one of the benefit is cost. Yeah, so the benefit, the cost, you're going to get cost effective, because when if you manage all these in servers or infrastructures at your on premises, like if you go back to like 10 years or 15 years ago, so we used to have servers, but those servers will be handled by us. So when you handle the servers, you purchase the hardware, and you take care of maintenance, power, cooling, IT experts, IT staffing, and security staffing, all that. So you will end up spending a lot of money as an initial investment itself. So that is a huge investment that you're going to make out. And whatever the idea of the company, let's say you're starting a startup with a huge investment, if the idea doesn't work out, so your company will be bankrupt. right? So when you invest huge money, so to avoid that, like now with the cloud computing, you really don't have to do any of that investment, because you're just going to pay ongoing charges only on a monthly basis. By of course, if you just sign up, you get a $200 of 200 USD credits, the free credits, 1 month free, and then you can change the to pay as you go model, and then you will pay as you go, like every month, like you get a credit card bill or postpaid bill, you also get some Azure subscription bill. So you're just going to pay that. You're just going to pay that. So that's how it is cost effective. Then comes to global scale. Global scale, because if you look at these cloud providers, you have Azure, Microsoft, you have Microsoft Azure, then you have Amazon AWS, then you have Google GCP, and then you have Oracle Cloud. You also have IBM Cloud. You also have Alibaba Cloud. And if you notice, all these companies, they are like very very big companies, right? We call it as FANG companies. So they're like top 5-10 companies. All these are market value. If you look at market capitalization value. So why do you think only very big companies? Why do you think only big companies are making creating these cloud products? Why do you think only big companies are entered into the cloud business, and only they are actually selling these cloud services? Why can't a small company, or why can't, if you ask, why can't our Indian companies do this? Any thoughts around this? Why don't you see Infosys, TCS, Wipro, HCL, Techem start doing a cloud business? If you're speaking, I can't hear anything. Probably. Okay. I think Tarun, you are speaking, but I can't hear it. So let me do one thing. Let me rejoin this meeting. There is some problem, I guess. I had removed my Bluetooth audio. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah, now I repeat my question. Why do you think our Indian companies, not doing cloud business?
Shankar, do you hear me? Hello, Shankar. Apart from Shankar, can you anybody can hear me? Can you just respond?
Yeah, Tarun. Yes, yes.
Tarun,
Yes,
Yeah.
Tarun.
okay.
We can hear both of you.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Now, Shankar, do you hear me now?
Maybe we lost Shankar here again.
I think this meeting not sure is happening, but Zoom would be really good. Yeah, go to meetings. I'm not
One
sure
second,
how
guys. I
it
can't hear
will be.
anything.
Zoom meetings are fine.
Oh. Hello, Shankar. We are audible. Hello.
Yeah, Shankar should be bringing up his Bluetooth, I guess.
I'm checking my audio.
We can hear you, Shankar. Not sure if you can't hear us.
Yeah, sometimes Shankar is not hearing us. Sometimes we are not hearing Shankar. Something issue.
Okay, so Bala can hear Shankar and Tarun. I think you guys can hear me, but I can't hear anything from your side.
Yes, Shankar.
Okay, so I think I'll fix this problem post this training, but let me continue with this demo for now. Later I'll look at this. Vijay, can you please mark me as a presenter, please? If there is someone from Career IT, can you please mark me as presenter? Make me presenter, please. Yeah, please use chat if you have any questions. I'll take up those questions at the end. Okay. Okay, so I think you all can see my screen. Okay, so I'll answer your question. Okay, I'll answer the question that I've asked. So why I think our Indian companies don't do cloud business? Because first of all, to do this cloud business, you need a huge investment. Investment will be in billions itself. So of course, our Indian companies also got a cloud product. If you see Infosys, they got Infi Akash Cloud, but they are using this cloud only for themselves. They're not selling any services to external customers. Probably TCS also might have their internal product. I am not aware, but they are only using because our companies are widely, our companies are, have offices and everything within India, but we don't have much of business outside India, right? So, but the companies like whatever I just called out, these companies are actually have a business in across globe, right? So if you see Microsoft or Amazon, they have, they have business across globe, and they can also invest. If you also look at the market cap, their market cap is in trillions, so they can do this huge investment which of billions, right? That is also one of the reason. But definitely once you make an investment over the period of time, definitely it will be a profitable business. So but you need that investment, you have to take that risk, right? So probably that risk our companies are not ready to take, maybe. So that is one of the reason I think. Okay, so if you have a different opinion, of course you can also have. So so we are talking about that because global scale, right? So these are all, since these are all big companies, they have data centers established across globe. So like, in India we have data centers. Similarly, you have data centers in, like, if you look at Azure, they got 60 plus data centers across globe, different, we call them as regions. In each region you can have multiple data centers also. uh, That's the reason you can sit in India, you can create some, an application or a website in US or Europe or Singapore, wherever you want. Okay, so wherever you want. So that's how you will be able to reach globally. When performance, these cloud providers, they do regular maintenance of the they do regular maintenance of the hardware. Okay, so they will have some, so every company will have some life cycle for hardware. So every 3 years, for every 3 years they will renew it. So they will actually renovate, or they will change the hardware and they'll actually renew to new hardware. That's the policy usually the cloud providers follow. So when they do that, so you get a better performance. But if you purchase one, let's say you purchase a laptop, do you really replace it every 3 years? You don't do it, right? When you purchase it for yourself, you definitely don't do it. But these companies, they have a certain policies. Mandately, they have to follow these. So they will actually renew it, every 3 years or every 5 years. It depends. And then comes to security. Security is another great aspect, because you to get a better security, you need to hire good security professionals. You also have to invest huge money. So these companies, they got that huge investment, they can actually invest billions of dollars. They can hire best class, hire good security professionals, and they can actually ensure that everything is secure, right? So that is something, if you again start as a startup, you really cannot afford to invest such a huge amount of money for to get a world-class security, right? So that is something all these cloud providers do, not just Azure, but also different, all the cloud providers does this. They provide a better security. And speed, the time it takes to create any service. So when I say time it takes to create any service, like let's say you want to create an application. So if you compare the time it is taking right now with the time it used to take 10 years before. So you want to build one website in 10 years before, it will take at least weeks time. Okay, at least weeks time. First of all, to host a website, you need to purchase the hardware. To get the hardware, you have to get the approval for a finance team and business team. Once you get the approval, you need to procure it. You have to purchase it. Once you purchase it, it will come to your data center location. Then you will install it. Then you will install operating system on top of it. For that, you need expertise, IT expertise. Then you configure your application or web server or whatever it is. So this is a week's process. Okay, but now in Azure, you can actually create an application or a website on the fly. So you can create within an hour. I would say hour is also pretty high, but you can create in minutes itself. So the time it takes for you to get any service that you want is very much improved in cloud. At the same time, it doesn't really take much time for you to destroy yourself. So not just only creating, but also destroying. So let's say you create one application which you thought maybe it is useful, but later after a month, you realize that it is not very much useful. You want to get rid of it, which is very easy in cloud. You can the time it takes for you to create, it doesn't even take that long to just to delete. It will be minutes or minutes task. But on-prem, if you purchase, if you get all hardware and procure and do all that, but at the same time, after a month, if you realize that it is not useful, then what do? You really cannot, give the product back to the company and get the money, right? All you can do is just you can do a resell it. If you resell, your price of the product is already halved, right? So that is a loss, immediate loss to you. So that is another challenging. So, and then coming to productivity, so when all these things are improved, and also there is one more thing in cloud, you don't have to take care of hardware. We as a customers don't have to worry about hardware patching and all that. Microsoft, the cloud providers like Microsoft, they takes care of it. They will have expertise deployed in the data centers. They do 24/7. They will have engineers. They can take care of it. So hardware replacement or patching or anything related to the hardware, so they takes care of it. That will definitely improve your productivity. When you're not focusing on multiple things, you can just focus on what is really matters to you, what is really important to your company. So some company, there will be some companies whose product will be, their focus will be some finance, or some health, or some different area. They really don't want to get into the technical side of it, right? In that case, you can definitely use cloud services, where Microsoft companies, cloud providers will take care of all the hardware maintenance, and you will not have much burden, so that you can focus on your actual development, or actual goal, I would say. Then comes to reliability. Reliability is very important piece. Why it is important? Because uh, that is directly relates to your customer trust also. Okay, so a customer will if you store it some very very important and sensitive data, and all of a sudden if the data is corrupt or data is lost, then definitely the customer will be frustrated, and he will also lose the trust on cloud provider. That is very important piece. So to get high reliability, what these cloud providers, Microsoft especially does is, Microsoft provides backup solution. They also provide disaster recovery solution. So these two are very important. Backup solution, you can take a VM or shares, you can take a data backup. And coming to disaster recovery, this is like a replication, DRs, we call it as DR. Those who are already, let's say if someone, maybe some of you may be already working for some companies. I'll give you one example. If you work for an MNC, Indian MNC like Infosys, they do this disaster recovery drill. We call it as drill. So sometimes they do drill once in 6 months. Sometimes they do this drill once in a year. Why do they do this drill? Because, so you might have noticed, I think in the year of 2016 or 16 maybe, I think so, in that year there are complete floods in Chennai. So complete Chennai city is actually flooded with water. So no company was operating in Chennai. So that situation is very unplanned and unexpected, right? So when such situation happens, such incidents happens, how do you actually react? How do you ensure that your business still continue even in those kind of situations? That is actually called as disaster recovery. So even in case of any natural disasters, like cyclones or floods or tufan, anything, still you should be in a position to operate your business as usual. How do you achieve this? Many occasions, I remember companies like IBM, Infosys, they do have offices across India. So what they have done, they have actually migrated their employees from Chennai to different locations, like Bangalore or Hyderabad, different locations, and they made those employees work from their different cities. That's how they ensure that the business still continue, okay, even in that situation. So that is like a DR drill. So why I said this DR drill? uh, Companies like, as I said, Infosys, they also does this. Even if there is no natural disaster as such, they will artificially creates one thing, in the sense, they will all of a sudden, they on that particular day they will stop business from one location completely, and they will ask employees or teams or business to run their business, or their take care of their customers from the some different location. Like, if you have Infosys, they have office in Hyderabad and Bangalore. Bangalore office will be shut down one day. uh, it is not a for whole day, maybe half of day or few hours. They will fully ask Hyderabad employees to take care of. So that's like a DR drill. So here also disaster recovery, you replicate your services or applications from one region to another region. So in Azure regions, you'll have a paid regions, which I'll talk in next slide. So this will help in improving, even if any natural disaster happens, still your business can continue.
Shankar, we cannot hear you.
I think we lost Shankar again.
Oh, Shankar is still talking, but we cannot hear.
Yes. So
you can purchase it. It's like a product that is available publicly for sale. You can actually buy it and take it, right? Something like this. Okay, that is called public cloud. So in public cloud,
Shankar,
examples are like
sorry.
all the examples: AWS, Microsoft Azure, GCP, Oracle, IBM. These are all public clouds. Then comes to private cloud. Private cloud is like you have a product, but you don't want to sell it to everybody. So let's say if any of you are if any of you do stock market investing or things like that, sometimes they will say some offer for sale, something like that, only for employees sale, only employees can get so those sort of things, like private is like you have a product but you don't want to sell it to everybody. You are only giving it to your private people. It's like a private cloud. That's nothing but, if you come back to the original this thing, infra. So you have an infrastructure. It's like this: you own your own building, and within your building you actually set up everything, like servers, storage, network, everything. So that is private to you, so no one can enter into it, and no one can actually share your resources. It is fully yours, and it is in full control of yours, right? That is called private cloud. Public cloud is something you don't control it. Cloud providers will control it. They will actually sell these services over an internet to general public. It can be a company, it can be a normal individual user also. Coming to hybrid cloud is nothing but it is a mix of public and private cloud. So when you have both of these, I'll give you one more example. Let's say you have a car, you want to purchase a car. So that's something like private to you. So you are purchasing it, it is private to you. And you purchased a car, but one day you have one long weekend, you plan to go for outing, okay, with your family. Your family is a very big family, and let's say there are 8 members in your family, and you have a small car. In your car only 5 members can fit in, including driver. Including, I mean, yeah, so 4 or 5 members can fit in. Then what do? Just for this outing, you will not, definitely not purchase one more car, right? You'll take maybe a rental, or you'll actually use some tours and travels, or you'll use Ola rental, or Zoom car, or Uber, whatever it is. So these are all publicly available services, right? You'll just pay some money and you'll take it and you'll use it. So this is, I call this as a hybrid cloud. Hybrid. So you have your own car, but still you're renting one more, because for this particular purpose you need some one more extra car, right? You're renting it. So this I called as hybrid. In Azure also, in a general, in our technology also, you have your own servers, set of servers, which is nothing but private cloud. At the same time you're renting from the cloud providers like Azure, is called public cloud. When you mix both of these, when you have both of these, this is called hybrid cloud. And if you look at the comparison, so if you look at the comparison, in public cloud, there is no capital expenditure is required, because you really don't have to invest any money. As I said, if you just sign up to Azure, you don't have to spend any money, but in returns you get, you get $200 free credits. So they will only give you $200, because they know that in the long term it is profitable. Right now they attract you, long term it is profitable to them, right? So that is why you get credits in return. You don't have to invest any money into it. You're only going to pay ongoing charges. So like Ola, so you only, when you book it, you'll pay 100, 200, 500, whatever it is, but you don't spend any money in purchasing car rides, just like that. And applications can be quickly provisioned and deprovisioned. So you can quickly create, and you can also quickly, as fast as you create, the same speed you can also delete also. And you only pay for what you use. That is a public cloud. If you look at private cloud, this is like hardware. You have to spend a huge investment, initial investment. You have to purchase the hardware. For that you need to spend money, and you also have to set up the IT stocking, or maintenance team, security, cooling, power supply, all that. That is also important. You need to have a 24/7 power supply, also 24/7 cooling as well. So you will invest money into that. So that is the initial investment for you. Your ongoing charges will be less, but your initial investment is more high. But in this case, you are fully responsible for hardware maintenance and updates. But at the same time, you have complete control because it is your own stuff. You have complete control on this. Then comes to hybrid cloud. This provides more flexibility, of course, because you have both. It gives you flexibility. You can choose what you want to keep in your on-premises and what you want to keep in Azure. So you will have full flexibility, but at the same time, it will charge you some money. It will cost you some money as well. Okay. Okay. So now let us see the responsibility metrics. So in cloud, in on-premises and in cloud, who are responsible to manage what? Okay. So your usual our infrastructure, hardware applications, they will have these different layers. Okay, starting from storage, network, compute, and virtual machine, operating system, runtime, applications, and data access. These are the different layers that you usually have for an in an IT. Okay, so in on-premises, in private cloud, you handle everything. So whatever you see in this color, that is something we manage it. We handle it everything. But when it comes to cloud, in cloud you have three different models. One is IaaS model, which is infrastructure as a service. Then we have PaaS model, platform as a service. Then you have SaaS model, software as a service. In infrastructure service model, you see these three, and storage, network, compute, these three will be managed by cloud provider. In our case, Microsoft Azure. The rest, all these five layers will be managed by customer in IaaS service model. Example for this, you can think of virtual machine is a very good example for this. Then on PaaS model, so only application and data access will be in the control of us. Rest, all of these will be in the control of Microsoft Azure. Example for this is a web app. That is a good example. Most of the things are managed by Azure only. Then comes to SaaS. SaaS product, only data and access in the control of us. Rest, everything is in the control of Microsoft Azure. Microsoft. So in this case, the example for this is O365, SharePoint. All these are considered SaaS products. And if you see the comparison in IaaS product, in IaaS services, you'll have a most flexibility because you'll have a more control compared to PaaS and SaaS. But at the same time, you're responsible to configure and manage the hardware for your application. In PaaS, you will not have much access. You can focus on application development rather handling the hardware, and platform management is completely taken care by cloud provider. In SaaS model, you don't have anything to do. You don't develop anything. Just the cloud providers will develop the product and they will give it to you as a pay-as-you-go model. If you look at Amazon Prime, all the products, these are developed by them. They actually deliver it to you. They will give it to you as a pay-as-you-go model or a yearly subscription to you. So these are all, I call them as SaaS products.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I think we are done with the we have discussed the theory, but I just have few more slides. Then I'll show you what are the contents that I'm going to cover this course. Then later I'll take up your questions and things. Okay. Coming to the regions, I told you in Azure you got regions. Each region can have one or more data centers. So this is a pretty old slide, but still if you see, I would say 1 year old slide, but you will see 60 plus regions. Microsoft has got 60 plus regions across globe. You see different color, different types of symbols right here. You can see the explanation. So wherever you see complete blue, which is available region, so which means at least one data center is already available in all these regions. Wherever you see availability zones with a small white dot, In those regions, availability zones, you got minimum three data centers available in those regions. So those three data centers will be spread across different corners of the city. Let's say in India, we got a data center in Mumbai, I think, not Mumbai, Kolkata, and we got data center in Pune. We also got data center in uh, South India, Chennai. Okay, in Pune data center, they have availability zones like three data centers in Pune region. So these three data centers spread across the city. So they will have these three data centers spread from three different corners of the city, and they will also have a separate power supply, separate cooling mechanism. All of these will be separate. Okay, then these will spread across 140 countries. But let's say, when you have a data region in India, nearby countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, those countries, they don't have regions in those countries, so those countries can use our regions if they want. So if you compare that with because AWS is in the market since very long, like they established in 2006. Okay, from 2006 till today, it is almost I would say, how many years, right? 16 years now, right? So 16 years is huge, right, in the business. So if you compare that with because AWS is still a market leader, but I see some decline. Okay, so Azure is growing now because Azure started late. So they started in 2000, I think, 11, I guess, and they actually initial 3 years they got some drawbacks, but in 2014 they bought with a new model. Okay, so 2014 is actual, I would say, second Azure 2.0, I can say. So Azure 1.0 is a failure, but 2.0 they came up very strong. So since 2014 the business really grew very fast. So it's been 8 years, I would say, for Azure 2.0. But the market share is very fastly growing. So if you compare the Azure with AWS, because these two are one and two top two cloud providers, you look at the regions that AWS has got. So these regions are they got close to 30 regions only, 30 regions across globe, 30 in the range of 30-35. I don't remember exact figure, but it is less than 40 itself. So if you compare with the Azure regions and AWS regions, Azure regions are more regions compared to any other cloud providers as of now, because when you have more different regions spread across multiple countries, you definitely have a scope of getting a business from different countries, right? That is the advantage with the Azure. That is the reason it is fastly growing, and the count is still growing itself. They still have plans to open data center even in a small countries like Thailand, and small countries as well. Okay, so that's uh, one thing. This is just a comparison. So you also can do your research as well if you are interested. And then coming to the tools that you use to manage Azure. So we can manage using Azure Portal. You also can manage using Azure PowerShell and Azure CLI command line tool. And you also can manage Azure App and then REST API and Cloud Shell. So these are all the tools that you can use, and ARM template. So you can manage these using these tools, which anyways I will discuss in detail while I am covering the training. Okay. And let's say once you learn the course, what you're going to actually do as part of your job. So basically what you're going to do, so in a cloud project, so usually you'll have architects. Architects are someone who spent enough years, like 5 years or 5 to 7 or 10 years time already into the business, and they have a very good knowledge in Azure, and they design the architectures for the project. They design an architecture. This is a very simple one. If you look at, they can design an architecture like this, and they will share that with their cloud operation team. So cloud operation team's job is, they need to get the requirement. Looking at this architecture, you should get a requirement like how many VMs are required. Here one VM is required. How many disks are required, and what type of disks are required. What are the different services that are required? Get the requirement, then you start creating those services. And once you create those services, hand over those services to cloud, client, customer. So that's the job of a cloud engineer. I would say Azure administration engineer. So whatever you are learning right now, so you will see these kind of architectures in future. You may not create one, yourself. That will take time for you, but you will actually, these will be created by your architect. And if you, that is the previous one is a very basic one. If you see some complex one, this is how it look like. It has got multiple different components. So this is usually a project will take up to 3 months to 6 months. Or it can go beyond also. Okay, it's not something you get this picture now, you create tomorrow everything. It takes time. Okay, and these are all the services that Microsoft has got. This is again old one, but you see when this is taken, Azure has got only 24 regions, but now it's 60 regions. You can think it's old one. But in this, we are going to cover all the IaaS services, infra services, some of the platform services, some of the security and management services, and hybrid services as well. In this, we are going to learn. Okay, so now let us see the numbers, actual numbers. Okay, so this is published in one of the article. If you see last 3 years growth from 2017 to 2017, 18, 19. Growth, Azure growth is pretty steep. Okay, so the demand for Azure skills is increased. So Azure skills is increased by 58%, and general cloud skills are increased by 29. AWS cloud skills are increased by 14%. Okay. Then comes to demand for cloud skills, starter jobs in 12 months, especially during pandemic time. Okay, December to September, during pandemic time, how cloud business has done. So in pandemic time, general cloud is down by 30, and the demand for AWS is also down by 17%, but demand for Azure is up by 15%, because the kind of products that they bought in, they bought virtual desktop, they bought Teams, they bought different cloud services. That's why their business still grown during pandemic as well. And as you know, more than 95% of Fortune 500 companies, they use Azure. But not all companies only use Azure. Some of the companies like Coca-Cola, some of the companies, they use multi-cloud. They use Azure, as well as they also use AWS as well. And some companies also use GCP. They use three clouds also. But companies like Walmart, which is a #1 company, so which uses completely fully Azure, because Walmart is a retail, and Amazon also is a retail. They also have a retail business. A retail customer will never go to a retail cloud provider, right? So that they will have those kind of politics, right? So Walmart fully use Azure only. So this is how complete, what do you say? More than 95% of Fortune 500 companies use Azure, which means you can think of how faster Azure is spreading all companies. And this is April 2021. I would say 1 year old one. Current one I need to get. But if you look at April 2021, at that time you got 32% of AWS, 19% of Azure, 7% of GCP. So if you look at this is completely 60, I would say 58% of market share, but you still have 42% of gray area. So this one, if you look at, there is still a lot of opportunities in cloud business. By 2023, it is expected to grow $500 billion business. So that is why you will still see a lot of openings in near future. But openings will be like for mixed technologies. They really don't only look for Azure admins. They'll also look for Azure admins with some mixed knowledge, like DevOps knowledge or security knowledge or technical. So some additional skills also you should gain. This is something, yeah, when you have a good leader, of course, your company also will grow. So if you look at in the last 3 years, Microsoft CEO is a #1 CEO in the world. Okay, so he got the award, the #1 CEO award as well, right? So, and also he clearly claims that Microsoft is a productivity and platform company for mobile first and cloud first world. Okay, he claims that Microsoft is a productivity company and technology company, but Amazon is not like that. Amazon has got multiple businesses. They got retail, they got different products. So when they have multiple products, for each of those products, you'll have competitors as well. So none of those competitors will come to your cloud business because you really don't want to grow your competitor, right? So they don't come to your they simply come to, so they'll choose alternative. Alternative will be Microsoft because Microsoft doesn't is not involved into any other business. They only have a technology business. That's it, right? And similarly, GCP, their main, they really don't claim that their primary business is GCP. Even till today, they get most of the revenue is from YouTube. YouTube is their primary profitable source, income profitable source. Still, they are not fully dependent on GCP because they started in the market very late. They started in 2017, so it is, I would say, very late. But we can see the future how things will go. Okay. They have a very good AI and ML, but cloud computing, they still got only 14 regions, so which is very less. They still need to build a lot of regions across globe, and they have to see how things will go. So that's pretty much whatever we have discussed. But now let's come to the point, what topics I'm going to cover. So I think this will be end of slide. I think next 2-3 slides I got. And the topics that I'm going to cover. So this is official Microsoft curriculum. If you look at, let's say you are working for a company, and your company usually will send for an official course like AZ104 training by Microsoft certified trainer, so to some training academy. Usually they charge you, huge money for that, for this training. So this is official Microsoft course content, which I'm going to cover in this training. Okay. So I'm going to cover VMs, VMSs, and PowerShell, CLI, Cloud Shell, ARM templates. In VNets, I'm going to cover networking. I'm going to cover virtual network, NSGs, firewalls, DNS, as well as I'm also going to cover site-to-site, point-to-site, express route, VNet peering, and virtual WAN, and load balancer, app gateway, and subscriptions, policies, tags, RBACs, and then storage. I'm going to cover blobs, files, Storage Explorer, AZ copy. Monitoring, I'm going to cover metrics, log analytics, alerts, network watcher, and the past services. I'm going to cover app services, containers, and Kubernetes. Active Directory, I'm going to cover Active Directory, users and groups, and backup. I'm going to cover files backup, VMs backup, insight recovery, disaster recovery as well. And these are the topics. These are official curriculum. I'm going to completely cover the official curriculum. So if you attend this training and if you practice, along with this training, definitely you'll be able to clear the official AZ104 certification exam. Okay. So, but this does not stop here. So along with this content, so I also got some other important topics. Okay. So these are not part of official curriculum. These are customized one. Okay. So these are like a mixed things. So AZ Azure AD Connect is something which is part of a architect course, AZ305 course, which I bought in here, and traffic manager also part of the same architect. Terraform basics and Azure DevOps, Azure pipelines basic. These two are part of DevOps course, which I bought in here. And the MFA is a MFA and Key Vault, Security Center, and Sentinel. These are security related AZ500 course I bought in here. And Azure migration is also a part of AZ305. So I would say it is full of AZ104 course. Along with that, it is a customization of coming from AZ305. I would say 305, 400, 500. So it is a customized course. These topics are very important topics from those certifications which I bought in, because Terraform and pipeline, these two are very important from there. But I'm just going to cover basics. We are not going to deep dive, but we are going to give you some basic information that will help you in cracking any interviews or any new jobs. So that's pretty much about the course content and also about the demonstration. But if you have any questions, like a lot of you might have some questions like, do I need any knowledge? Do I need any? Are there any prerequisites? Or you might have those kind of doubts, right? So there is no experience required. even if you are fresher, you can still join it. Even if you don't have any experience in Azure, you can still join, because my course will start from very basics, from ground level to the advanced level. So you can actually, even if you don't have any experience, you can still join. But for experienced peoples also, if you already have some Azure knowledge also, you can still join, because I'm going to spend initial 3 days for full of basics, IT basics. Fourth day onwards, you will see actual Azure training. So even your Azure, even if you have some Azure knowledge, you can still join and see. Definitely, it helps you. And all you just need is a commitment for learning. That's it. So you should spend quality time. So you should spend quality time and ask right questions and get the knowledge, because when you ask questions, I can explain some additional information. And you also should, I give some homeworks also. When I give homeworks, you should complete those homeworks as well. And more importantly, you have to practice along with my training. That is important. Every day, if I spend 1 hour, you also should spend 1 hour in the learning. That is important. Okay. And course timings will be 7:30 to 8:30, Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. I think it starts tomorrow only. So you can actually reach out either Career IT or me for additional details. Link. I think next 1 week you'll have the same link, meeting link to join, uh, and then later link will change, I guess. And you don't need any prerequisites. All you need is just a laptop with some good internet connection. Don't join from mobile or don't join from tablet. Better join from laptop, so that when I do something, you also can practice yourself. And I will tell you how you can create a free trial account for Azure practice as well. Don't worry about that. But you need a credit card to do that. So get one credit card. If you don't have, borrow from your friend. You won't be billed anything on the credit card. That will be just used for a verification purpose. Then you get a credit of 14,000 rupees credits for practice. Okay, that's pretty much, guys. Any questions now?
Did you say like the class is between 7:30 and 8:30 Monday to Friday?
Any questions there? I think, anyways, I can't. Okay, people say can't hear me. Are you guys able to hear me completely, or you saw any problem in hearing? Vamshi Krishna, you're speaking, but I can't hear you guys. Can you text in the
Hi,
chat,
Shankar. This
please?
is Vamshi. Yeah, we can
Do you guys
hear
have any
you,
questions
Shankar.
for me? Are you guys able to completely follow through the demo? I think by tomorrow I will fix the problem, but for now let's actually. Okay, you're able to hear completely. Okay, great. And do you guys have any questions for me, guys? Sorry, I think I can't hear. No, I can't hear you, Kumar. I can't hear you. I think a problem on my audio side, my side problem. Can't hear you. One second, let me see. Yeah, course will be it will be for 30 to 35 hours, I would say. 30 to 35 hours. 30 is the minimum. 35 hours, it depends on the questions that I get. So it can go up to 35, but 30 is the minimum. Yeah, that's right. 30 hours means 30 working days. Monday to Friday, 6 weeks. Correct. Okay. So any other questions that you guys have? No
Shankar,
projects.
Shankar, can you hear me?
No projects. Only, but I'll give you some labs. Each lab is like a one mini project. But I'm not going to give you any major project as such. I have close to 16 labs, I guess. So 16 labs I'm going to give you. So each lab is like one mini project. Each lab is like a project only. Yeah, it depends on how you take it. But I'm not going to give you any other additional project.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Sorry, Shankar, can you hear me? Hello.
Those are interested, please continue with the same link tomorrow. Please join this course with the same link tomorrow, same time, 7:30 a.m.
Not able to hear you guys. Like even
From here onwards, Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 8:30 a.m.
Sorry, Shankar, can you hear
Any other
me?
questions? Feel free to reach out to Career IT or feel free to reach out to me. Tomorrow is a
No,
draft
maybe
beginning. Demo is done today. So tomorrow
Shankar
we
is
start the.
unable to hear us, but we can hear him.
So Santosh, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. I'm not like you.
Shankar audio is the
So
problem. So, don't worry asking questions to him.
Any other
Anyone?
questions,
so
guys? So if you have any
Yeah,
doubts, right, feel free to reach out.
Once you post your question
Feel
and
free
chat,
to reach
we
out.
can
Those who
check
know
the
me,
content will
you
be
can
there.
reach out to me directly. Those
yeah,
who
sure,
don't
sure.
know me, please do reach out to Career IT. They will assist you. Santosh, if you're saying something, can you ping here because I can't hear you. Okay. Okay, guys. Thanks everyone. Take care. Enjoy the weekend. Join back tomorrow morning. So we'll continue. I think I should solve this problem for tomorrow morning. Azure admin course. Yeah, that's what I said. So Azure admin course only. First I said AZ10 is Azure admin only. So which I'm going to cover. Okay, I'm going to cover Azure admin course in this. Along with that, I'm also going to cover some additional topics. Okay, guys. Thank you. See you all tomorrow. Cheers, bye.